Jesus has made us alive. Thanks to this very talented group, and what wonderful words they were. I think it draws great inspiration in many ways. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our speaker is the Reverend David Wong, who is the Vice President for International Training, Haggai Institute. Reverend David Wong has been the Director of Training for Haggai Institute in Maui since 1994. He served as an overseer and a faculty member and the mentor to hundreds of Christian leaders from scores of nations and trained in Maui each year. On the 1st of January in the year 2001, he became Vice President for International Training, overseeing the training program in both Maui and here in Singapore. Born in Singapore, he studied in the nation's premier school, it seems, which is Raffles Institution, and then earned two master's degrees in arts and theology from the University of Manchester in England and the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. He is presently completing a doctoral program at Fuller Theological Seminary in the United States of America. He pastored the Mount Carmel Bible Presbyterian Church in Singapore for 17 years, during which time it grew from a shopfront church of 120 persons to a mother church of 500 with 4 daughter churches, including one in India. He taught as a guest lecturer in several theological schools and served as Deputy Dean of the Biblical Graduate School of Theology until he left Singapore for a wider ministry in 1994. Reverend Wong has written the lyrics of 5 musicals, including Barnabas, Son of Encouragement, and John Tsang, and authored a dozen books, and the letters of which are entitled Love's Rough Journeys and Journeys Beyond the Comfort Zone. David is married to Jenny, a preschool teacher, and they have 2 daughters and a son-in-law. It is my joy to introduce Reverend David Wong and now ask him to please come and share with us thoughts from God. Please put your hands together as we welcome Reverend Wong.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tony Chi. I would like to speak to our graduating participants of sessions 440 and 441. But of course, since you're here, you can listen in to what I say to them. You're welcome. Well, you're graduates, and in a few moments, you'll be graduates. We have here 58 brothers and Christian leaders from 31 nations. Do you remember when you first arrived in Singapore? How you wondered, how am I going to pass these 4 weeks away from home, away from loved ones, amidst the strangers from many lands? Well, the 4 weeks have come and gone, and it seems like yesterday when you arrived. So we often say, time flies. Now we can say that of the past 4 weeks. We can also say that of the last 12 months. Many of us still remember how we stood on the threshold of the year 2002, wondering what it would bring. And now we are in December. The year is almost gone, with only 2 weeks left before another new year, 2003, dawns on us. Many of us also remember the excitement and fears of the advent of the new millennium. Not too long ago, we were in 1999, anticipating the year 2000, bewildered by all the talk about Y2K, and now that is past. 3 years have flown by. Whether it is 4 weeks or 12 months or 3 years, time flies. And time will continue to fly. Before you know it, it will be January, and then December of 2003, and then 2005, and then the end of the decade, 2009. Time flies, and time flies swiftly. The swift passage of time underlies the brevity of life. So James tells us, what is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. What is your life? It is a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. In Maui, in Hawaii, my wife and I, we live in a house near the mountains. And from the windows of my study, I look out to the mountains covered by the rainforest. It's a beautiful view. In the early morning before the sun rises, a mist often descends from the mountains to where we live. And if I get up early in the morning before the sun rises and look out of my windows, I will see in the shadows, lit by the moonlight, the mist. It covers everything in sight. I can hardly see the houses, the trees, only the glow of the street lamps. Then gradually the sun appears. Where I live, I see the sun rising over Mount Haleakala, which is the largest dormant volcano in the world. The sky above the mountain turns orange, and then red, then crimson. Within a few minutes, the rays of the sun pierce through the clouds and send shafts of light everywhere. And then something magical happens. The mist that covers the land, that obscures everything in sight, suddenly disappears. Within minutes, it's gone. The mist, which only a few moments ago was so pervasive, so extensive, so all-encompassing, is no more. And so James tells us, what is your life? You're a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. In our lives, each of our lives is like a mist. Recently, I heard a speaker who brought home this truth afresh to me. He suggested that we should look at our life like a week in a calendar. You know, the Bible tells us that our lifespan is 70. Psalm 90, verse 10, 70 years. So let's look at this week. Let each day of the week represent 10 years. So imagine we are born on 1 minute past midnight. That's our arrival. We arrived 1 minute past midnight on Monday morning. And we depart 12 midnight Sunday. We are born at the beginning of Monday, and we die at the stroke of midnight on Sunday. Now, which day of the week are you now? Well, it depends on the age. Maybe there's someone here who is 32 years old. You are on Thursday morning. Maybe there's someone here who is in his 40s, 47. You're on Friday afternoon. I'm 53, and I'm already on Saturday. Perhaps there's some of you here who are in your 60s. You're already on Sunday. And remember, you depart on Sunday at midnight. Now, it's a sobering thought. If I'm not mistaken, most of us in this auditorium are already into Thursday or Friday, and some even into Saturday. How far is Sunday? Not far. Imagine tonight is Thursday night. Before long, it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. These are just moments and hours away. So it is with our life. We are only moments and years away from the time of our departure. But how preoccupied we are with the many issues of life, busy with many responsibilities and anxious about many things. And yet we need to remind ourselves that our life and its demands may overwhelm us, may surround us, but before we know it, like a mist, it is gone. So we obviously cannot live our lives as if life is everything. It is not everything. Because when the time comes, when the sun rises, the mist disappears. Our life is gone, and everything we hold in life will go with it. At the funeral of one of the richest men in the world, his widow was asked, "How much did your husband leave behind?" And the answer was, "Everything." When the time comes, the midnight on Sunday, when the mist vanishes, we take nothing with us, and we leave everything behind. So how then should we live? Tonight, let me commend to you the examples of men and women of faith in Hebrews 11. What does the Bible say about these people? The Bible says all these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance. And they admitted that they were aliens and strangers on earth. I'd like to commend to you what we may call the pilgrim's perspective. Now you, graduates, you have been aliens and strangers here in Singapore. Are you not? You were for a while aliens and pilgrims because you knew when you came to Singapore that you're going to be here for just a few weeks. And everything you did during these 4 weeks were predicated on leaving Singapore when the time was over. You understand the status of a pilgrim. You came, you stayed, and now you have to go. Everything you did during these weeks were done in the awareness that you are not going to be here for long. So when you wanted to see something like the lights at Orchard Road, you said to yourself, I better get out and see it because I may not get a chance to come this way again. When you wanted to buy something, you said, I better make sure I can take it home without my baggage going overweight. And when you heard and learned something important, you said, I'm going to go back to share this with my wife or with my church people. Everything you did during these 4 weeks had something to do with your status as a pilgrim here in Singapore. You saw everything in the context of your temporary stay here and your eventual return home. And that is how we should live our life. What we did during the 4 weeks should be extended to how we are going to live in the years to come, maybe the next 20 years, maybe the next 40 years, as the Lord gives us life. How then will we live? How can we have the perspective of a pilgrim? Let me suggest 2 things tonight, and I'd like to elaborate on each of this. As a pilgrim, we cannot see everything. And as a pilgrim, we cannot do everything. We see only what God allows us to see, and we do only what God directs us to do. So let's examine these 2 essential traits of a pilgrim. Firstly, a pilgrim sees only a part of the big picture. The pilgrim sees only a part of the big picture. Hebrews 11 tells us of men and women of faith that they did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance. Now, this goes against the teaching we find in some segments of the Christian community today. They teach